Recently, owners of the notorious Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs were actually airdropped a new cryptocurrency called the Ape token, which actually saw its price surge to as high as $39 per token, but actually very quickly plummeted to about $8 in just a span of a few hours. And so naturally, the claim and so-called intent behind this controversial crypto token is that users will not only have voting rights within the Bored Ape space, but also be able to spend these tokens on projects like games that Yuga Labs, who is again responsible for all the Bored Apes projects, comes out with. But will these projects really deliver on their promises? Plus, if we look at some previous airdrops, we'll see that many of these crypto tokens have severely tanked in price after their debut. Not to mention, most NFT and even crypto prices have not been doing very well lately. And so in today's video, we're going to be diving into some of the potential reasons for these declines and perhaps even stagnation, and also whether or not there's still money to be made in the future, whether you're an investor, a gamer, or somebody who creates NFTs. So starting out with the first potential reason for the recent decline in prices and popularity of NFTs in general, and it's that there's a lot of saturation and people are sort of getting bored of and also perhaps fed up with the same types of projects showing up. And not only that, but projects actually sort of imitating each other.
Of course!
For instance, if we take a quick look at Rarity.tools, which is one of the most popular websites for tracking new NFT releases as well as what some of the most popular projects are, we'll see that many of the especially newer projects are not only copying each other in terms of art style, or even copying some of the previously popular projects like obviously the apes and so on and so forth. Not only that, but many of their roadmaps, which is what they'll be releasing down the line in terms of what NFT owners will receive, like being able to play a game or some type of media project like a video or series, or having some sort of event being hosted, or getting access to certain like 3D assets or so on and so forth. Many of these are sort of copying each other as well with no real sort of design promise besides basically them just stating that they have these roadmaps.
You naughty, you teasing me.
But that's definitely not to say that all of these projects will become worthless in the future. For instance, some artists might actually be committed to creating unique artwork for a specific NFT project and not try to duplicate artwork for future projects, thus giving the original ones more scarcity, right? Or each one that original uniqueness and scarcity, which is something that gives NFTs their value. And secondly, in terms of the roadmaps, I'm sure there are developers who will be committed to their roadmap that they announced, instead of it being sort of advertising for their project, right? Especially you can look at ones where the backers of a project are actually well-known, say celebrities or well-known developers, or have had a track record of developing, say, games or whatever it is, or actually host valuable and exclusive events because the people behind the project actually do have some real influence. And so as such, if you'd like to be involved with more mainstream, legitimate, and less scammy or pump and dump type NFT projects, then you should definitely consider not just looking at Rarity.tools, but also websites like Maker's Place and Nifty Gateway, both of which actually collaborate with real artists. And not only that, but they also curate the NFT artwork that goes onto their websites. And by the way, these platforms are more for NFT art as opposed to things like gaming and other NFT niches. So if you're looking at specifically more like fine art or pop culture related NFTs, then these two websites I would highly recommend, again because of that curation that they do, which means they actually check each NFT project and they have a reputation to maintain, so that you'll definitely or most likely not encounter any sort of scammy fake roadmaps and things like that. And some other platforms and sources you can consider, and this is more of my personal preference as well, is mainstream brands and franchises that have already been popular for the last few years or even decades. So these have already had their proven track record of popularity. And what you can do is look at what some not only mainstream retail brands are doing. A lot of them are getting involved in the NFT space and are releasing NFT or metaverse related products, or having collaborations with physical products and NFTs, for instance, and actually released a recent video that covers several utility NFTs that, and again, these are sort of NFTs that not only are aesthetic, so they're not just artwork, but they have some sort of utility attached as well. And I'll link that video down below. All these NFT projects are from renowned brands or big names as well. And of these, my absolutely favorite platform is called Vivi, because they've already collaborated with and thus have a very good relationship with many renowned and popular brands that have already been well known for the past few decades. And not only that, they're also adding additional franchises into their fold. So the NFTs that they sell are of popular characters like Marvel characters, DC characters, say Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and so on and so forth. But not only that, but they collaborate with new movie releases. So this is sort of a cross promo type thing that they do, which helps the movies that come out, for instance, or fashion brands or artists that also happen to have events. So they're very good with timely promotions and also things that will be popular in that time, right? And not only that, but things that will have longevity in terms of popularity as well, because again of the franchises that already are very, very well known, such as again Disney, Marvel, DC, artist brands. They've even done Ukraine humanitarian relief NFTs that they've sold. And personally, I have invested in NFTs on their platform and they've done pretty well, but this is not really financial advice. I'm just telling you what I've done. The prices have come down a little bit recently, along with most other NFTs and cryptos, right? But I fully believe and have conviction in many of the, or this platform and many of the NFTs on the platform, because again of their, the franchises already being very popular, right? I don't see them, going out of fashion anytime soon. And secondly, because of sort of the metaverse promise, VV is very uniquely positioned because their NFTs are all 3D NFTs and they have like a AR integration, so augmented reality or virtual reality integration sort of built in. And they actually claim they're going to be developing a so-called VVverse, which is their own version of the metaverse. And so many of the NFTs that you can buy on VV are sort of they sort of double as decorations within the metaverse, such as like virtual posters or statues and so on and so forth. They're all 3D. So if the metaverse becomes a thing, and I think it will in some form, and people want to, for example, decorate their rooms, decorate their spaces, mansions, whatever it is, or dress up their avatars or have things to show off, not just for bragging rights, but just to maybe have, items within the virtual space, I think VV is a great place to start if you are bullish on the metaverse as well. And another likely reason that NFT prices and by extension crypto prices and even other types of investments like stocks are not doing so well as of the early part of 2022 is inflation, which is the increase in prices due to there being perhaps too much of a money supply or people being able to spend more than they used to in terms of how much cash they have, and also supply chain bottlenecks, thus making things more expensive because it's hard to get for manufacturers and sellers to obtain, for example, materials such as from the conflict in Europe. It's not really helping this either, right? Which is perhaps causing even more inflation. And as a result, regulators of the economies around the world and monetary policy are actually trying to rein in inflation, in that they're trying to stop the increase in prices, lest people, especially the middle and lower class people, not being able to afford some of these products. They're trying to raise interest rates, which is basically incentivizing people to instead put their money in banks or buy bonds or invest their money in those types of assets or those types of methods, instead of spending their money as much, and thus sort of driving down demand for goods and thus prices as well. So with interest rates going up though, this actually makes, for instance, putting your money in banks more desirable, because the interest rates will be higher, right? You'll actually earn a higher interest by, for example, putting your money in a bank account as compared to before if interest rates go up. And also, for example, if you buy treasury bonds, the interest rates on those will be higher as well, and thus people are more likely to put their money in something with a guaranteed interest rate like that, rather than, for example, investing in stocks, crypto, right, and even NFTs, even less so. However, it's also precisely because of these expectations for inflation and thus interest rates that a lot of the prices on NFTs, cryptos, stocks have come down, and thus have potentially created buying opportunities for some of these, right? Especially, or at least the ones that have actual long-term potential. For instance, NFTs with real useful utility in the future, for example, in the metaverse, or stocks that are also, for example, tech stocks that are not necessarily as profitable now, but might actually have a great future, a few years down the line. Some of these prices have actually become largely discounted because of these sort of compression metrics caused by inflation and rising interest rates. And so in my opinion, and again, this is not financial advice, but I think, and I will be doing this, that it is a good opportunity to invest in these long-term horizon types, again, stocks, crypto, and even NFTs. I'd already mentioned that I've been buying some NFTs on VV, and I'll probably be continuing be doing so. If I see any worthwhile projects on there, so that's one thing in terms of NFTs. Other than that, I'll be keeping my eyes peeled for any new mainstream brand NFTs that might be coming out. And I actually, again, recently did a video on examples of utility NFTs that have already come out from big brand names, and you can check out that video in the description. Or you can also go to websites like NFT Plazas, which frequently comes out with news regarding mainstream adoption and promotions and so on and so forth. Some of them are even, for example, free NFT giveaways, such as with the new Batman film from, I think, AMC. So you can definitely check those out. And things like the Sandbox NFT game, they're sort of giving away NFTs as well, and that could have a lot of the popular future in terms of the metaverse gaming space. So there's a lot of areas to look at for NFTs, not only in terms of artwork, right, but also in terms of metaverse type things, or a combination of these, or even gaming, and so on and so forth, right? In terms of gaming, there are a lot of companies that are very interested in, and they've explicitly stated that they're interested in getting into the NFT space. And these are really popular gaming companies that have extremely popular franchises like Square Enix, which develops Final Fantasy, which is one of the most well-known and most beloved game franchises out there. And Ubisoft, which is another large producer, has been doing or trying to dabble in NFTs as well, right? Some of these companies have been met with backlash, but backlash is something that creates depressed prices and lower demand right now, right? Which means there could be an opportunity, and it's not guaranteed, of course, but if you have the money, the extra money to speculate in any of these NFTs, buying something right now or investing in something right now could actually that's other people are not really investing in right now, right? Hence the prices are lower, could actually give you a lot more returns in the future, right? That's sort of the nature of investing, and how most people who have earned a lot of money from investing have traditionally invested, right? Essentially, you want to look out for investments that are not really catching mainstream attention just yet, or people are sort of ignoring, but that you actually see potential in. Because if people already notice, or if something gains mainstream attention and popularity, the prices will go up as a result, right? Because people will start buying in. So if you can get in before these moments happen, then that could be a way to make some more money. And of course, the same thing, if not more, applies to cryptos such as altcoins. I personally been sort of dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and slightly into certain altcoins that I think has long-term potential. So that's another thing that you can look at. And stocks is actually my main investment, or my largest investment in my pie, so to speak. And I actually recently did a video, which happens to be my previous video, that you can check out and highly recommend it if you'd like to learn about how to plan for retirement using some simple formulas and using things like ETFs, which is an exchange traded funds that are baskets of stocks that you can invest into to get a sort of semi-guaranteed return to help you plan for how much you need to save, how much you want to retire with, and how much you want to spend in retirement and things like that, right? You can actually start doing that as early as right now if you haven't done so already. So I highly recommend checking out that video. It was very eye-opening for me to have found out about those simple rules. So it's a very useful one, in my opinion. So with that, anyhow, that's pretty much all I want to do in today's video. Let me know what types of investments you might be getting into, or how you are actually trying to, or think you can, or people can make money in NFTs or crypto or stocks moving forward. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Peace.